Say hi, Dale.
Hi, Dale.
This is Brendan, and no, don't start yet. I'm going to show you what he does to prepare these cables. These are the cables that he's preparing. This will complete the 300 that I'm doing now, we think. I'm not sure. We don't have a total count, but Malia's going to bag some tonight, so she's going to get me a count. Okay, so this is what he does. The first thing he does, he takes the tool like this. Describe what you're doing.
So you put it in here like an inch so that the last remaining quarter of an inch gets cut, and you're taking away the rubber the housing that it's in, so it leaves like the sheathing.
Insulation.
And then I do like a little twisty method to undo it. Some are easier than others. And then you can peel it back like an eggshell.
And what are you cutting there?
You strip it away.
Stripping what away?
Just the shield, just the heat shielding that protects the wires.
Yeah.
So for these cables, we take away the copper wire, the black wire, and the gray wire, and then the white part.
Yeah, the filler.
Yeah, the filament, or filler, whatever it is. And then, so you just have the rainbow left. That's my favorite part.
Mm-hmm.
Just the rainbow, and it's easy.
And then what do you do?
Take these,
Yeah.
get them all bunched up.
Cut them off.
Cut it out. And then I splay them out like this. Have this in one hand. And then you just cut like 1/8 of an inch
Strip an 1/8 of an inch off each colored wire.
on the tips to leave
I'll
enough
zoom
room. To leave enough room for soldering the ends for the connector.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's around 2 minutes a cable.
So you do 2 minutes of cable. So that means in an hour you can do about 60 cables. That sound about right?
Now in an hour I do 30 cables.
Oh, cables. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. In an hour you do 30 cables. 30 cables an hour. Okay, that's cool.
This
All right.
one's shorter though.
Yeah, I know. There's a couple that are a little short. It's okay. It doesn't matter. It's still 12 inches. The other ones are just over. Okay. And then that's all you do to prepare these cables. So, and then he puts them in this bin over here, which are to the right, and they're the ones that are finished. And I'll get you close up from this side now, and you can see what he's doing. There's Charlie. He's being a dog over here. Charlie, what are you doing? Huh? You're too cute. You're just too cute. You know that? What are you doing? What are you doing? Watch.
Moving his bed.
He loves to play. Okay, Charlie. There you go. You're just too cute. What are you doing there, Charlie, huh? Say hi. Okay. All right, so that's it. So so that's my contribution to your cables. Say something like that.
Yeah, my contribution to the cables.
And how much do I pay you?
15 an hour.
15 an hour. And okay, that's right. And you have another 200 to do after this, plus another of the 100 larger ones, which are completely different. They get different wires taken off.
Yeah.
And he'll be doing those later, or this
I already
weekend.
did some of those. But
Yeah.
Those are later.
You can do them some this weekend.
Yeah.
I have 100 of those to do. And then I'll show you on those what we do on those, because they're completely different configuration, because they get ends put on both sides of the wire. This one already uses the factory end on the one side, as I explained earlier. Okay, say goodbye. Hi Dale, how are you? I told you I'd send a video on YouTube how I do these cables. This is one cable that I do. There's 3 different ones. This is the short one for TopCon. Okay, this is the TopCon one that you use for the Bluetooth. This is the final product. Okay, now I'm going to show you what it takes to make this final product, pretty much from beginning to end. Although Brendan's not here right now, I'll show you what he does for me to prepare the cables. But he's not here right now, so that will get edited in somewhere else. Okay, that's a good Glenn. Glenn's our cameraman right now. He'll say hi to you later. But so he's going to go ahead and stop. Okay, this is the units that I take apart. This is the DIN 8 pin right here. 8-pin DIN, and I'm going to take it apart. As Glenn holds the camera for me, you can see it comes apart. This is after it's apart. These are the actual pieces that I solder. And then these are the side shields that go on. I'll show you how I do that in a little bit. And this is how they come. So they come in boxes like this, right there. And this is a 3-foot cable, which I cut in two. It's female to female on each end. That's what that uses, female to female on each end. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these now and show you how that's done. So Glenn's going to take the camera without stopping. Go ahead. Don't need to stop it. And basically what I'm going to do then is I open up each pack, have to take off these cable ties right here. And a lot of times, instead of just twisting them off, I just cut them and let them go to the ground. These cables are supposed to be 12 inches long. So what I do is once I create one, then I just cut the rest. But I have a measurement here. I just go from here to here. That's 12 inches. I give a little extra inch or so. Cut it. And then I take the other side. Can you see it okay? And then I align them up and cut that one to 12 inches and let the other 12 inches go to the ground. It gets thrown away. And that gives me two cords, two 12-inch cords out of one cord that I buy, because they're 3 feet long each. So that's what's done there. And this is where Brendan will take over and strip and do them, and I'll show you how that's done in a second. In fact, I'll do what Brendan does, and I'll put the video in what Brendan does. So Brendan takes, okay, can you come over here a little bit, Glenn, towards the, and just don't, make sure it stays focused, because you may have to stay back further. So this is the cable stripper, and we take the cable stripper and we put it in there with about an inch left over from the right hand side, and then we turn it and twist it and strip it off like that. Now what happens is, how's that coming out? Is that coming out good? Look good? Okay, then what we're going to do is we take the shield, which is the copper wire that's around everything, the filler, which is this white stuff, as well as the colors that don't get used on this contains 9 wires, 2 don't get used. The black and the gray don't get used.
Just pull them out so I can see them.
The black and the gray don't get used.
Okay.
And what I do is I wear a magnifier, 3x magnifier, so I can see all this. So the black and the gray don't get used. Then I cut off the black and the gray like this. Is it focused, Glenn?
Yes.
Oh, great. So I cut, actually Brendan does this part. He cuts these like this, like that. He's no good at soldering, but he's a great cutter and stripper. Okay, and then what I do is then I strip or he strips the rest for me. So these are 28 gauge wires times 7, so we strip each one of these. Now he prepares these ahead of for me, because then I'll show you what I do after he prepares them. I strip each one of these just a little bit, about 1/8 of an inch.
Let me see the finished product.
Yeah, I'll do that when we get the finished
After you
product.
strip them all.
Yep. And then we go here, and we go here. Okay. And then, okay, so that's the finished product as far as the cable's concerned. Is that focused? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Really?
that looks good.
Okay, good. So that's that. Okay, now what we do is, come on over here, Glenn, is I take apart all these. Now I have 200 more to do after I get done doing these last 75 I have to do. So I take these, which come from China, in boxes like that, in packs of 100, directly from China, Shenzhen, Jingding Dong, China, and they come in like that. And then I take them over here, and you take them apart. So what you do is, no, you don't need to go in close, just you can stay back. You pull it apart like that. Is it in focus?
Yep.
Pull it apart, and then this goes into red bin. This silver part comes apart. This is the part that clamps onto the cable. Goes into the blue bin. The actual terminals, the 8-pin DIN, goes into this red bin. And then this silver one goes back into there too. So we'll do it again. So we do this 200 times or however many the purchase order is for. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. And you just keep doing this times 100, 200, or whatever you need. That takes care of that. That's how you do that. Okay, you can go ahead and stop there. So after Brendan strips them all, he takes these cover pieces and he puts them on the cable for me like that. Because if you solder it on without that on, you're screwed. You have to unsolder it and put it on. That has to be on first. And then after this, so this is the way Brendan gives them to me prepared. Basically the covers are on, it's all stripped away, everything like that. Then I come over here and I put it in my little vise, alligator clip vise, and soldering iron. 420 degrees Fahrenheit, 218 degrees C to the soldering iron. All the necessary things for the solder. The holder, the wire cleaner, solder. I even have it on a spool of solder like this, and generally I'll get 2 or 3 feet at a time and just go like that with the solder. And then I put it in underneath the cable here like this. So now I'm ready to go ahead and tin each one of these. Now Glenn, you can zoom in a little bit, but you don't need to come in too much.
Yeah, right here.
Because I don't want to lose the focus. Put down my visor, and I'm going to tin each one of these 7 wires. So this is all real time. Okay. So you have to make sure they're all pretty well together. You can't have anything spurring out on you. And we just tin these one at a time.
He'll know
Like
what you're...
that. And then you get the blue one here. Okay, so now they're all tinned pretty well. Then you take the 7-pin connector like this. Not that one. Okay, like this. And you stick it on the other side of the clip. So the brown wire, this one, has to go in that middle connector right there. That's the first one you have to do. Because if you did the other ones, if you try to put the soldering iron in after the other ones were on, you'd burn all the wires. You'd burn all the insulation off the wires. So the center one's the one that has to go first. Now here's the hard part. You've got to take the tester's 186 flux, and you have to put it on every one of these little pins in order for it to solder on correctly. And just because you do it doesn't necessarily mean it takes every time either. So what you do is I come in and you can see you take one little drop and I stick it right there on that center conductor like that. Then you load up the soldering iron with a little bit of solder. You take the brown wire and you put it in here and you put it right inside the cup of the connector there and you solder it just like this. And you let it heat up. And you go like that. Now that's soldered on there. Now the next one that goes is purple. Purple goes on, I want to show them my chart here.
I should go...
Show you the chart. 8 is brown, 2 is purple, 5 is red, 3 is green, 7 is yellow, 4 is orange, and 6 is blue.
Let me go around this side.
Okay? Now you'd be on this side.
Okay.
Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn this a little bit. Since I've done this probably a couple thousand times now, we're going to put the blue one, the purple one, right in there like that.
I can't see that.
You see how that's in there like that?
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm going to take and I'm going to put one little drop of flux on there. Like that. Load up the soldering iron with solder and just touch it on here for about 1 full second so it solders.
This is what takes the time.
This is what takes the time. So there, that purple one is done. Now the next one is, the next color that goes down is red. So red goes into the one right beside the purple. And sometimes these little cups aren't facing out. This one's not facing out very well, but I can still get it in there. So, put the red one right there. Can you see that, Frank?
Mm-hmm.
And then we put one little drop of flux on there, like that. And then load up the soldering iron. And solder that one on. Next color is green. So we take our green wire, stick it in there, like that.
You can't, and we'll never solder without the flux. It just won't go. You might as well just forget it. And then a little bit of flux. Solder on the tip. And soldered on there, perfect. Then the next color on this side is yellow, which is the last color on this last pin. Yellow. Yellow.
Mm-hmm.
If I can get it. See, this is sometimes you can't get it. And that one's got a little too much solder on it. It's going to take a little bit of that solder off. Got to clean my solder over here now that I got too much solder on it. Nice clean tip now. A little solder on the tip. Put the yellow in here. Like that. Flux right on the wire. Like that. And we'll touch that down and solder that on there just like that. Now we've turned this over like this, and right beside the purple goes the orange one. So we get the orange one like this, and we stick it in there like that, and we add our little flux. Now you see why it takes so much time. And then we do this. And that's soldered on there. And then the last one, we skip this pin. This pin gets skipped. So we go to this pin, and that gets the blue one. Because pin 1 is not used. That's pin 1, that's not used. And then same thing there, you got to put your flux on, because if you don't, you're screwed. We're not done yet. There's still more to do even after we're done with the soldering. I'll show you. Okay, so here is the solder. Right on there like that. Sometimes it takes the first time, sometimes it doesn't. That time it took 2 times to get it. So, now what I do is then, if you want to just go back a little bit, so it's not, I don't want to lose the focus. I check it all and make sure nothing's bleeding over, nothing's loose. It's all good and solid, which it is. And then you have to take this piece, and there's 2 little grooves here, and there's two little slots here and 2 little prongs here. You have to put those prongs into those slots until it snaps in place, and some go better than others because it is made in China. Their tolerances aren't that great sometimes. It's in now. And then you take this wire and you put it down inside here. Then you take your blue strippers and you cable clamp this over like that, that over like that. So that's all clamped on good and solid. Then you take your other half of your shield and you clip it on here like this. Like that. Then this is already low because it slips into this, slips in, that little prong slips into that opening, and that's how it locks it in. Well, they're all low from the factory, so you can pull them apart quickly. So what you have to do is you have to grab a screwdriver, and then you have to bend this up a little bit from the back side a little bit, like that. Can you see that, Glenn?
Mm-hmm.
And then once you do that, then you can take your cover and slide it on like this and snap it in place. And that one actually clicked in place, so I know it's solid. Okay, so that's our completed product. Oh, no, it's not completed, because now it has to get quality control checked. So now we walk over here, Glenn,
I was going to ask you about that.
and we plug it into our PC cable tester, which checks all kinds of stuff. Checks parallel, serial 15, DB8s, DB9s, CB15s, VGA 15s, and it does it by sending a signal from the receiver to the transmitter side. So what we do then is we plug our cable that we just made into my pigtail, like that, and then we plug the other end in to the side that goes to the receiver side, like that. Now, come real close here and watch this, Glenn. So we know pin number 1 and 9 aren't used. So 1 should never see anything up here, including ground. So there's no shortages or anything, short outs. So when I correct this, 2, it didn't work. 2 didn't go to 2. 2 is supposed to go to 2. Let me see if we're not plugged in here. Oh, okay, we weren't. Okay, so we'll go back. Okay, so 1 is not used. 2 goes to 2. Transmit to receive. 3 goes to 3. Now the next jump is 4 actually goes to 6. The next one, 5 goes to 7. The next one, 6 goes to 8. And then 7 goes back to 5. And then 8 goes to 4. And 9 is not used, not connected anywhere. So again, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, 4 to 6, 5 to 7, 6 to 8, 7 to 5, 8 to 4, 9 not used. Now, once it's done and completed, pull it apart, and it goes into the completed bin right here, which right now there's 57 in there, and it goes right in there like that. It's completed, and then then it's still not done. Because then what we do is, and you don't see this part because none of them are done, I get Malia to bag them. So I pay her $5 for every 20 minutes to bag these. She's good and fast. So we take this, and we take the bag, and we take the thing, and we stick it in here like this. Or she does, I don't do this. I'm a little tired of sorting by the time. And then we just Ziploc this down, and then this is how they get shipped, bulk shipped into TopCon. In a box. This one will have 125 to go. That's basically the procedure and how it's done. And now I want Glenn to say hello to Dale and Lorraine. Say hi.
Hello, Dale and Lorraine.
He's-
How are you?
He was the cameraman the whole time while we were doing this. The only thing I have to do is insert Brendan in when he comes home. He's playing pickleball right now.
Good to
So
see
basically that's the setup there. That's the setup there.
you. It's a lot of setup. It's a lot of work.
And that's the setup there.
And let me do these. Let me show you these.
Okay.
This is the red.
Yep.
What do you call these?
And I call those that's the 8-pin connectors themselves.
Now, what's this?
These are the shields, and these are the cover plates. The cover thing
I know.
places over. Okay,
Wow.
and then this is how the cable comes in when we buy them from China, and that's it. So there you go. That's the whole process. So now you get an idea of what it takes to do it. Let me know what you think in the comments.
It's
Talk to you later. Bye. Glenn has helped me many times just cutting the ends off of the cables. So basically, this is the other cable we use. This is a 100-foot cable now, as I zoom in on that. This is what we sell to National Vision. They don't Bluetooth anything. They will hardwire everything in. So they're 100 feet. So he's going to take that 100-foot cable, DB9, and he's just going to cut those ends right off. I know, it's a waste of a good serial cable. Cut that one off, and he's going to take the other one and cut that one off. So he's going to do that 100 times, because this order is for 100. Put it in the box. And do it one more time. That'll be 3 done. And then what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put that same connector you just saw, but it's a different configuration. Pins get jumped on that connector. Pins 4 and 5 get jumped on that connector. And I put a DB9 female on the other end. And there's jumpers in that side of that cable too. And I'll show you that one in a different video that'll be coming up next. Yep, drop that down. And that's all there is. That's 3. Thanks, Glenn. And I'll show them the other steps to that when I start making those. Okay, so this is the second cable I make. This is the big long 100-foot ones for Navision. So they don't Bluetooth anything. They wire everything, hardwire everything directly from the pretest area, autorefractor keratometer topographer, an NCT unit that's made by Marco directly into the TopCon unit, and they do this by this cable. So I'm just going to show you how I make this cable up. I'll do one incomplete, maybe a little choppy because I'm going to do it in segments because I don't have a cameraman anymore. I'm doing this when no one's around, so I thought I could just do this real quick. So what I have to do is I have to take these DB9s here, and you can see I have already done these. Whoop, that one fell on the floor. Okay, this is pins 7 and 8, and it's jumped. They're jumped like that. I have to solder a jumper between pins 7 and 8. I'll show you how I do that. And I do it with this wire that I buy from Dollar Tree. Okay, and you get this whole 4-pack of wire for $1 at Dollar Tree, and that's that little black
jumper you see right there. That's that black wire. And you can watch me do it in just a moment since you are so interested in how this is done. I'll be glad to show you. So anyway, so this is where I get those. Now I'm gonna go down. I made a little jig for my DB9s because it's really hard to hold a DB9 up. I'm hoping I can't see. Well, I actually can. It's in. No, I actually can't. Oh, actually, I can see it sort of. Yeah. Okay. So I have a DB9 here, and what I have to do is I made a little jig because you can't really grab it like this. You don't want to be soldering down like this. You want to be soldering sideways. So what I did is I made a jig out of a paper clip, and it goes into these pins right here on each end, like this. And then take the DB9, and what I do is I get my wire right here. Of course, everything requires the famous flux. Yep. So what I do is I put a little drop on pin 7 and 8 like that, and then I take the wire, which is all coiled up here. I just bring out one end, and I just hand strip with my fingers. Let's see if I can get this. Hand strip with my fingers a little bit like that. I don't know if you can see that. And then I put the first one in, and I grab my solder, which is right here, and I put it in here, and I solder this first one on pin 7 like that. Then I put the soldering iron back in the holder over to my right, and then I grab this and I cut these like this. And then instead of stripping it, I just push back the insulation so I get a little bit of the wire coming through. This is solid wire, it's not stranded. And I stick it in pin 8 like that. And then sometimes I'll drop another drop of flux on. Grab my soldering iron, solder, and go like that, and there's the jumper. So I do that times 100 because this order's for 100 cables. So I've gotten all these done. I only have like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 10 or 11 more to do. So that's how I jump all those. I do that first. I jump all the DB9s first, because then I solder on the other wires, as you'll see later, into these. The problem with the DIN 8s that go on the other end of this, they get jumped for this cable. They get jumped. Let's see if I can get something that's a pointer. Yeah, they get jumped with the same black wire. They get jumped between 4 and 5. The problem is you can't do those all in advance, because if you do those all in advance, when you go to get this center conductor, you'll hit the wire, the jumper wire between 4 and 5, and melt the insulation on it, and then you can have a possible short out. So I have to put the center conductor on from the 100-foot cable first, then I jump 4 and 5, and then I proceed to do the other wires. So that's how that's done. You'll see that one a little later too. So I guess that'll be that for this segment, and when I get ready to do a couple of cables, I'll just do one cable and show you in real time. It takes about, when it's all ready to go, when I have this and these and everything, and Brendan's already stripped them off, it takes me about 20 minutes per cable to do one, and you'll see why, because this is a DB9 that you have to put the casing on, the DB9, along with the little wire restrainer and everything else that has to be put on here. And that's what takes all the time. That's why it adds up to be 20 minutes per cable. So I can do 3 cables in an hour. I have 100 to do. That's about 35 hours, no breaks. That's almost impossible. So that's what happens there. But you'll get to see all that in the next segments. Okay, that's all for this one. Okay, I'm back again. I'm going to try to do this so you can see everything. I do it in real time, so it could get a little boring. Okay. So first of all, this is the 100-foot spool right here. I have a whole box full of them over here, but I have the camera mounted. I don't want to disturb it, but I got 100 to do, and today is Thursday, the 18th. Yeah, Thursday, November 18th, and so I got 100 to do. This is number one. 99 to go after you see this one. Okay, and it's 3:30 in the afternoon. So I'm going to start this one. Brennan just got done stripping about 20 of these, 25 maybe he got done. On both ends are stripped, ready for me to go. And as I said, this gets a DIN 8 on one end and the DB9 that I showed you earlier, the ones that are jumped on the other end. And I have my diagram here in front of me. So what we do is we put this in. It's going to be a little boring. I'll try to talk while I'm doing it. I don't know. Let's see. And we're gonna tin each one of these wires and put the 8-pin DIN on it, along with the jumper. I was showing you the jumper. We have to jump 4 and 5 on this one. We have to jump. I don't know if that's focusing or not. Looks like it is. That's pretty amazing. Normally this thing wouldn't focus that fast. 4 and 5 on these. So I'll show you that too. Alright, so basically then what we do is we put this in here. The very first one after we tin has to go in the middle. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wires that get soldered. Let's say we have 5 wires here. Sometimes they get frayed out, so you got to put them together. This is why it takes so long for each one. And then what we do is we come over here and we're going to tin each one up. Like that. That one didn't tin so good. And then we got to put a little drop of the flux, Kester flux, number 186, in the middle. And I clean my tip. You won't see that, doing that off to the side over here. I'll make sure my tip's good and clean. Put some solder on it so it's good and hot and ready to go. And then the middle one gets orange. That's pin number 8 on here. So this gets orange. It goes in. I'm going to put a little drop on here too this time, and then we're going to see if we can hit this in here. I don't have that much on the tip. Sometimes the solder won't stay on the tip, but it goes to the back side of the soldering iron. And got it. That's good. Now you saw me do the DB9 pins earlier, between 7 and 8. Now this gets a jumper. This has to be jumped between 4 and 5. So I do the same thing. I strip it with my finger, and 4 and 5. This one right here is number 2, right on the top in the middle at the 12 o'clock position. The one to the left is pin 4, and the one to the right of the top pin, the middle pin, is pin 5. So what I do is I get the little thin wire that I buy at the Dollar Tree, and we'll put some solder on here, and we'll solder this to here. Sometimes it takes a little longer. Like that. And then what I do is grab my snippers and I come around. This is a jumper, so I'm going to cut it. See what that looks like. Yeah, I'm going to cut it right there. Then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to strip a little off, and I'm going to bring it around. I'm going to jump it to this pin right over here. And these have little cups in them, so you can try to set the wire down inside the cup. It helps hold it there. And then you get your flux. Put your flux on there like that. And then solder this like this. That's good. Now, the 12 o'clock position, which is pin number 2, it gets white.
or gray, depending on what color the wire is. A whitish gray is this one. It goes in there like that. Put a little flux in there. Sometimes they take better than others. Move this around so it's more centered. Put this in here like that, and didn't take yet. More solder. Yep, that took, so that's done. Then we go across, then I do the next 3 to the right of that center pin. And they are pins 5, 3, and 7. No, excuse me, pins 3 and 7. And that gets green and yellow. So green, and this is what happens, this is why it takes so long. Sometimes the wires get pinned back here, green and yellow. And then what we do is we'll put green. Now, see the yellow one. Okay, let's get the green one back out of here. See? Green and then the yellow. Black goes to the other side. Okay. So pin 3 gets green. Like that. Same thing with the flux. Just rinse and repeat, basically. Boom. That's a nice one. Sizzled right on there. Green. And then 7 is yellow. And it goes over here. Right in there like that. Didn't go. Yep. Flux. Solder. And like that. Then I take it and I twist it and I turn it. Okay. And then pins 4, excuse me, pin 1 and 6. 1 and 6, yeah. Number 6 gets black. Should be black. It is black. I'm looking at the diagram. Okay, because I'm used to doing the other ones, so the different colors, different pins. Okay, so this one, after you do 300 of the other ones, you got to switch colors. It can get a little, so you get used to it. Put the black one there. This pin right here does not get used. That's pin number 1. It doesn't get used. And then go here, and we'll solder that up. But guess what? I did the major mistake. I forgot to put the cover on over the wire. So everything I just did is wasted. I thought I did that. Well, that's a pretty good example of what you don't forget. So now I'm gonna have to undo all those and put them all on to show you. So I'll undo them off camera, and then I'll put that on and I'll resolder it and get it back with this on over the wire. I forgot that, and I meant to do that. I was more concerned about the video. Oh well, I'll be back on the next setup. One moment, please. Okay, we're back. Now, let's see if I can get this to go again. Okay, after I unsoldered it, put the black cover on. Forgot about that, huh? Some more light there. There you go. Okay, that's a little better, I think. Now we take it off, the alligator clip vise here. Now we take this piece and we stick it on over here like this. Can you see that? Yep, you can see that. And then click it in. It has to click into these slots. These tabs have to click into the slots, just like on the last one. Same connectors. Oh, jeez. Come on. There.
No, not really there. Close. Yeah. Okay. And then put the cable inside the cable clamp here. Grab your crimping tool. Crimp this one down. Halfway over. Clink that halfway over. Yeah. Like that. Okay. Check all the wires. And we're going to run this through the tester when we're done. Remember, we're not done till the tester's done, the final quality check. Okay. Then you take your other half of your shell and you put it on. These little tabs here have to go in those little indents. And then sometimes it shifts. So you got to put the plastic piece so it gets into the little ring slot here. Right, like that. Then it should snap in place. There. Then you bend this up and you put your cover piece over like this. Snaps in place. Now that side is done. Ta-da! Now we go over to the other side of the cable. As you can see, Brendan's already stripped them off. And now we get my little jig that I made out of a paper clip. And we put the DB9 connector into my jig, like that, and it goes into here. Now, as you saw before, 7 and 8 are jumped. So, this pin right here is number 6, and it gets orange. It gets orange. I just want to double check that, because the other one gets green, black, yellow. White, green, black, yellow. White, green, black, yellow. Yeah, 6 goes to 8, and this is pin 6. Yeah. Okay, so it gets yellow. Excuse me, it gets orange. Gets orange. So, but same thing here. Yeah, these, and this happens too. These aren't tinned, so I got to tin every one of these up. Yep. I'm looking up at the little monitor on the camera to make sure I'm in field of view for you. Okay, so there you go. Now, so this gets orange, because 6 has to go to 8. If you remember, orange on the other end over here goes to the center pin, which is 8. That's on my diagram here, so I won't have to look at it. Once I start doing these, I'll know it by heart. Okay, so then I take this and I put this in here. Now these are a lot easier to solder up. I just put a little flux in there, a little cup. A lot more room here. Don't have to worry about so much stuff here. A little solder. Orange goes on here. Just like that, it's done. Then I just take my pen. This is sort of cool. Just take this, flip it over like this, stick it on the row, the top row, which is the same one as on the bottom row. Now I know that, I get my pointer, that this gets white, green, black, and yellow. White, green, black, and yellow. Pins numbers 1 and 9 aren't used on this connector. So this gets 2, 3, 4, and 5. White, green, black, and yellow. So in this case, it's really not white, the wire, it's gray. Because every company does, like I said before, every company does it different. I do have some cables here that actually are white, but this one's more of a grayish white. So we're going to put that in, and what I do is I just stick that. Well, what I do is first I take my flux and I just put it on all those cups. And then just get solder. And then we'll just do this, whoop, in real time. That's not supposed to come out of there.
Wasn't in. I have too much pressure that way. Okay, so then this goes like this. I know it's boring, but I'll try to make it better. And then this goes in here white. Dab that up. Now generally these go pretty good. Yep, white, green. Here. Stick it in there. Sometimes I'll reflex it with the flux here. It should go sizzle right in. This one's going to sizzle in, I can tell. Yep. White, green, black. I'll have to stop and move the camera over to the tester, unless I bring the tester over here. Nah, because I don't think I can get a good angle on that one. Need more solder. Black and then yellow. But we're not done yet because we still have to put the housing on this. This is why these take so much longer. Get a lot more money for these though too. So here, this goes in here, and this goes in there like that. And then we do this one. And there you go, it's now complete. As far as soldering is concerned, it's complete. Okay? So that's how basically it goes. That's pin 9 is not used. 7 and 8 get jumped. 6 gets orange. 1 is not used. 2, 3, 4, and 5 get white, green, black, and yellow. Or gray, black. Gray, green, black, and yellow in this case, because that's what the color of the white one is gray. Okay, so that's that. Now we have to take these. And we got to open up these. Alright, so this is a set of 2 here. So what you do then is you take this is the cable restraint. And you take this is the other side of the cable restraint. One's threaded and one isn't. These are made in China. Sometimes the quality's good, sometimes the quality's not so good. I think I'll tilt this down a little bit more. There. Okay, so then what I do is I get my Phillips screwdriver and you use these short ones. And my magnetism has gone out. And you put the short screw through there. Like this. I'm going to get my I'm going to remagnetize it. Get my magnetizer. Magnetize. See? Now I should be able to pick up that screw. Yeah, see? Now it'll stay in the screwdriver. And then, oh, sheesh. I'll screw that in there like this. Get this started. Put this on here like this. Goes right near the end for the cable restraint. Strain relief, whatever you want to call it. That side, grab another screw that fits it. I'm a little better than this that I'm showing you. And then this goes on like this. Screw this down. And then you tighten them down, both sides, so that it's clamped onto the insulation of the cable like that. Then you take this. See if you can see this. I think I'm better off in here. See, where's my middle? Over here. Yeah. Okay. And then you put the DB9 into the plastic housing like this. And then you make sure that the strain relief is right up against like that. Then you have to take the other half, right here, and you stick it on top like this. And it locks in. But you still have to put the screws in that go into the socket. Haha!
You think that's easy? No, it's not. So what you have to do then is you have to get this screw here, which is a shoulder screw, has a little outgrove on it, then it's threaded, and these flange plate. And then you put, what I do is, in order to hold this together, because if I let go, it's just all going to come apart, I get this screw here, one of them, and the nut that goes on here, and I put that on there like that. I'm sure you may have put these together at one time. And then I just tighten it just a little bit. That'll hold it together. Then I can take this and I can slide it in between the two halves into the correct position and through the, sometimes if it's too close together, it won't slip in. So I split it apart here with a screwdriver. Come on. Normally I'm down on the bench, not in the air trying to show you. Okay, and then put it in there like that. See? Now you just now you got to do the same thing to the other side. So you got to get the other one, the flange plate on, like that, and then you got to do the same thing. You got to slide it in here without the other side coming off. That's why I put the one screw in to hold it so it doesn't come apart on you, because you'll never get it any other way. And you put that in there like that. And once they're in there like that, then you can screw this side down like this. Still another screw to put in. So what I do is I put the head in from one direction, the nut on one end, and then I take wherever the nut is and put the head in from that direction. That way it's the same on either side. So you have a head and a nut on each side and screw it in that way. And now it's ready. Ta-da! One cable down, 99 to go, but not quite yet. I'm going to pause it, take off the camera since I'm done, and I'll take it over and see if I can show you unless I can bring over the tester. Oh, can I bring over the tester? Maybe I can bring over the tester and show it here. Let me see if I can do that. It'd be easier. Okay, so stop it and be right back. Okay, I'm back with the tester. Yeah, that's with the light on. It's probably better with the light off because I think you can see the numbers. I can zoom in. Yeah, okay. All right, so then you take my tester and you plug this side in to the DB9 tester over on this side, right there, and don't pay attention right now, and then plug this in to this side for my test. Okay, so now on this one, am I recording? Yes. Okay, so on this one, so I plugged all that in. You saw me plug this into here, I think. For my receive side, I plug this into the transmit side. So now we're going to show you again to double check, and hopefully I should have checked it before I recorded it in case I wired something wrong. Okay, so 1 is not used. I'm going to press the button. 2 should go to 2 and it does. 3 should go to 3 and it does. 4 should go to 6 and it does. 5 should go to 7 and it does. 6 should go to 8 and it does. 7 and 8 are jumped. Remember what I said? 7 and 8 are jumped on the DB9 over here, which is what it's showing. And then 9 will be not used. Test. 9 is not used. Now, what you have to check, that's transmitting on one direction. So then what you have to do is you have to take, let me just see if I can get this back out here. You have to take this out and plug it into here and make sure that 4 and 5 are jumped and nothing else when I do the same tests. Okay, so test. I'm not plugging the other end in because I've already checked that. All those wires. So then I go, 1 is not used, 2, 3. Now 4 and 5 should be jumped, and you see they are. 4 and 5 are jumped right there. Whoops, wrong way. See that? 6, 7, 8, 9 are all empty. So we're not connected because the other end's not connected. 2 is not used, but 3 is not being used right now because it's not connected to the other end. But 4 and 5 are jumped, and when I hit it again, it's going to stay jumped because it's checking 5, and 5 is back to 4, and then the rest are empty. And then I know that this cable is 100% complete, ready to go. So that's how that works. So basically, after it's all checked, oh, I'm tight. Whoa. And it's one down, 99 to go. And that's what it takes to put the Nidec to TopCon cable, 100-foot cable together. And that's what I've been doing. And that's what I have to get done. And then I have another 200 of the TopCon ones that you saw before to do. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you had a great time. If you want more videos, just let me know. I'll be glad to make it. I'll make the one on the Pendulos. As soon as I get into this a little further, I'll take some time and do all that. Talk to you later. Bye.